What up, Giants fans? In today's show, we're going to break down 8 roster moves the Giants made today, the day before training camp gets kicked off. And if you're just ready for training camp, ready to see some practice, some padded practice, ready to see the Giants back on the football field, I want you to like today's video. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. We have some roster moves to get to, but first, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Mint Mobile, a cell phone provider that's going to hook you up with unlimited text and unlimited talk plans for as low as $15 per month. Look, inflation sucks. We're all trying to save a buck or two. You can do that by going to mintmobile.com/chatsports. The Giants, they made 8 roster moves. We're going to break them all down. Then we'll look at the depth chart of each position where a move was made. We'll look at some stats, and we'll offer some insight on these players. We broke this guy down last night in our at-home video, but I wanted to talk about him again in the studio with some graphics. That's Andrew Adams, a familiar face, a guy who started his NFL career with the New York Giants. He was an undrafted free agent, spent 2 seasons with there, and he actually was a pretty good player, but then he spent the last 4 seasons with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In 2021, he played 14 games, had 24 tackles, 4 PBUs, 1 interception. Didn't play that much in 2020, but in 2019 he was solid, 46 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3 PBUs. But in 2018, he had his best season in the NFL, 38 tackles, 9 pass breakups, and 4 interceptions. Andrew Adams, he tried out for the Giants yesterday. They held a large workout group, and he made the team. It's a pretty cool story. A guy that started his career with the Giants, now he's 30 years old, got an invite to a workout, got the training camp roster spot. Now he's going to be fighting for a spot with Jaron Williams, Yusuf Corker, and Dane Belton. He's going to fight to make this roster. I'm not sure if he will be, but I do think he'll provide some veteran leadership to a young group. Dane Belton is a young guy. Julian Love is still learning that strong safety position, the undrafted free agent. And Yusuf Corker is there. Jaron Williams is switching over from a corner to a safety. So a pro like Andrew Adams, who's now 30 years in the NFL, or 30 years old, and he's in the NFL. It's just crazy because time flies. Undrafted back in 2016. Now he's 30. He's a seasoned vet, and he might actually end his career with the Giants. If you want to show Andrew Adams some love, you can type 33 in the comment section. We did that last night on last night's video. A lot of you guys loved that. So type 33 to welcome Andrew Adams back to the Giants. Next player, and probably the most talented player that the Giants signed today, is Nick Williams. And he's a guy that I think is going to make this roster. And the simple fact is, he's a good football player. Last year with the Detroit Lions, he played 17 games, had 27 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, a half a sack, and he also spent 2020 with the Detroit Lions. He had 23 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. But in 2019 and 2018, he spent time with the Chicago Bears. His best season in the NFL was back in 2019 when he had 42 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 6 sacks. Hopefully, we get that version of Nick Williams, who will be joining this crowded defensive line front. We know Kayvon Thibodeau and Azeez Ojulari are going to be the primary edge rushers, with Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence, man in the middle. Justin Ellis playing a little bit of nose tackle. But a guy like Nick Williams, he's going to compete with Quincy Roche, Jihad Ward, Ellerson Smith, Tommen Fox to make this roster. And I think he does make this roster. He is just a good football player, bounced around a little bit, but played 17 games for the Lions last season, had a season where he had 6 sacks. The Giants, they could use a little bit more depth and beef on the interior defensive line. And Nick Williams is a guy that can add to that room. I think he'll make the team, and I think he'll make the room a little bit better. But speaking of the defensive line room, I want to ask you guys this question. What is your confidence in the Giants' D-line? In my opinion, that group, that skill position group, is the most talented of any position group on this team. With Leonard Williams, Azeez Ojulari, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and all those guys, I think this is the most talented position group on the team. I'm scaling anywhere from an 8 to a 9, but I want to hear from you. Scale it 1 to 10, 1 being you're not confident at all, 10 being you're extremely confident. Light up the comment section for me right now, Giants fans. We told you about Mint Mobile off of the top of today's show, but let's break them down a little bit more right now and tell you why you should switch over. They offer plans starting at $15 per month that have unlimited talk, unlimited text, high-speed data on the nation's largest 5G network, and you also can have that mobile hotspot if you're trying to help a friend out with some Wi-Fi. My favorite thing, though, about Mint Mobile is it's easy to switch over. You get to keep your same phone. You get to keep your same phone number. You don't got to go to the store. You can change over from the comfortability of your house in as little as 15 minutes. With the gas prices going up and you spending too much money at the grocery store, save some money on your cell phone bill. Plans starting as low as $15 per month. Just go to mintmobile.com/chatsports. And if you're wondering, yes, they are owned by the famous actor Ryan Reynolds. One more time, mintmobile.com/chatsports. Another player the Giants signed is Marcus Kemp, a wide receiver who has spent his whole career with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's been there 4 years of his NFL career, and he's not really known as a receiver. Played in 44 games for the Chiefs, but just 4 receptions for 42 yards and just 10.5 yards per catch. But this is a guy that's going to come in and compete and fight for a special team spot. Last year, he played 79% of special team snaps for the Chiefs last year. And I was talking with our Kansas City Chiefs reporter here at Chat Sports, and he let me know that Marcus Kemp is a big-bodied receiver that's fast and is one of the best special teamers in the NFL and was with the Kansas City Chiefs the past couple of years. And that's what he's going to have to do to make this roster. He's not going to make it as a wide receiver, a true pass catcher, but someone that offers versatility, that can go out there on offense, give you some snaps, as well as be a key contributor on the special team side of the field. That's going to help you make this team. Versatility goes a long way in the NFL. And when you can check the box in more than one place, you're more than likely going to give yourself a better shot to make this team. If the Giants make any more moves, whether they sign more people or cut more people, we are going to be breaking it down on this channel, youtube.com/NYGiantsTeam. Whether we're at the house and we cook up an at-home video late at night, or we're in the office with the graphics and my producer, Matthew Peterson, we're going to get you guys a Giants video every single day from now till the end of the season. So lock us in, hit that big red button, and help us get to 11,000 subscribers by week 1 for the best Giants coverage on YouTube. The last player the Giants signed today, we got 4 players they cut that we'll get to in a second, but Kamaal Seymour, the offensive lineman. He was an undrafted free agent 2 years ago out of Rutgers, started with the Las Vegas Raiders, bounced around a little bit, hasn't really actually played a snap in the NFL yet, but he's just going to be a depth piece in the tackle room behind Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal. We know Matt Peart most likely isn't going to participate in training camp, still coming back from that ACL, most likely going to start the season on the PUP list. But this is just a depth piece, another training camp body. You got to get to 90 players for training camp, and you're just looking for guys that can give people good looks, give you good snaps, and not really screw up your practice. And that's what Seymour's going to do. He's going to come in. He'll try to compete for a spot. Probably won't make this roster. Will really just end up being a camp body, but shout out to him for getting some bread to come participate at Giants training camp. We signed 4 players, which means you got to cut 4 players, and the Giants did that today. The first one was Henry Black, the safety. He was picked up a couple of months ago, played with the Green Bay Packers. He was really a guy that I thought would have a chance to make this roster because of how thin the Giants safety room is. After Xavier McKinney and Julian Love, and prior to signing Andrew Adams, there wasn't anybody on this depth chart that had real pro experience. Jaron Williams switching over from a corner like we talked about. Yusuf Corker's that undrafted free agent out of Kentucky. And Dayton Belton's the rookie out of Iowa. So the fact that Henry Black is gone, that tells me that the Giants really liked what they saw from Andrew Adams yesterday. And I think that means Yusuf Corker may be a guy that's going to make this roster as an undrafted free agent. There was also a defensive lineman cut, and that is Jabari Ellis. And it's unfortunate because in the life of the NFL, it really stands for not for long. And Jabari Ellis' tenure with the Giants was just that. He had an uphill battle to make this roster. Like we talked about, I think this position group, the front 5 for the Giants, is the deepest on this rotation. I think he was a guy that could come in and compete at one point, but it's tough to make it in the NFL. And when you're battling against guys that are pros like Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Jihad Ward's been in the league for a long time, it was an uphill battle for a guy like Jabari Ellis. Salute to him and good luck in his NFL career. Another guy that's coming to the road in his Giants career is Travis Toivonen. He had a really good camp. He was the guy that got a lot of reps for the Giants at the wide receiver spot because there was a lot of injuries to Sterling Shepard, Kenny Golladay, and Kadarius Toney. Toivonen was oftentimes the number one targeted receiver in off-season practices this year, and that kind of tells you the shape that this wide receiver group is in. I thought it was cool that Toivonen has made it this far, spent some time with the Seahawks, but really got his start in the NFL thanks to the fan-controlled football league. If you've ever heard of that, it's the league where the fans get to pick the plays. It's where Johnny Manziel played, Josh Gordon, and Terrell Owens continues to play every single year. Shout out to Travis for making it this far. Hopefully he lands and, hooks up with another team in the NFL. But speaking of wide receivers, one of these guys has to play good football this year. If they don't, the Giants' offense will be underwhelming once again. But I want to ask this question. Who has a better 2022? Are you rocking with Kadarius Toney? Go down and put 89 in the comments, or type 19 if you're rolling with Kenny Golladay. The most surprising cut of the day for me was Maurice Canady, a guy that has looked good in camp so far, especially when you got to think about and factor in, once again, how thin the Giants are at the cornerback room. Adoree Jackson is really the only pro in this, or seasoned pro, I would like to say, a veteran, if you will. Darnay Holmes still a young cat. Aaron Robinson is. Rodarius Williams is. Cordell Flott's a rookie. Zion Gilbert is an undrafted free agent. Michael Jacquet is a guy that's bounced around. Heslop is the guy they signed a couple of days ago. But Canady, for a guy like him to get cut, it stinks because I thought he was someone that was going to be able to be a veteran in this room. He has some more snaps than a lot of people on this Giants defensive back depth chart. And for him to go stinks, but I think that tells you what the Giants are thinking of their current cornerback room. They feel good about it, and I don't think they'll actually go out and sign another veteran. We'll go through the moves one more time. The Giants, they signed 4 players, and Andrew Adams, Nick Williams, Marcus Kemp, and Kamaal Seymour. I think Adams and Williams will compete for a roster spot. Kemp will fight like hell to be a special teams player. I don't think he makes the roster. I think Andrew Adams has a good chance, but I think Williams, I don't want to say he's a lock, but has the best chance of these 4 guys. And as 4 guys get signed, 4 guys gotta go. Henry Black, Jabari Ellis, Travis Toivonen, and Maurice Canady will not be playing for the New York Football Giants this year. I appreciate everybody that's made New York Giants now a part of their day today. If you made it this far in the video, you could type a real one in the comments section for a roll call. Shout out to you guys. Well, training camp's almost here. Preseason's almost here. That means the NFL season is almost here. So lock us in. New York Giants Now is back. We're going to continue to put out videos every single day. Subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter @MarshallGreen_.